Hey there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. Y'all, I got so excited. I usually do a countdown before we get started with the podcast, and like I said three, and I just immediately hit record. And it was the first time in a while that I feel like I had like deer in headlights mode. I was like, oh, we're oh, it's live. I want to make sure I share that with you because here on the Outliers at the Roundtable, we keep what's real front and present, and make sure that like the polished versions of ourselves aren't the only thing that you get to see. Every single time that we come into this space, we are humans walking and navigating a path that we don't know. And at the same time, we're bringing all of our expertise, all of our experience to the thing, to the table, and still making things up as we go along. And so I want to make sure I realized that like I was like, I'm gonna restart this. I usually don't do any edits, so I felt like I needed to keep it real and let you know, like, hey, by the way, you missed out on this blooper. And here we are today. Today we have an incredible opportunity to slow down and go deep and go wide and go far with an awesome trailblazer. Crystal, I'm really, really pleased that you came onto the show. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked for the conversation.
Yeah, I like that. The other day I said I'm souped for this. I'm like, yeah, that feels right. I like that.
Nice.
So Crystal, I'd like to start off here by giving Outliers a chance to get to know you. Would you mind sharing more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Yeah, so I'm Crystal Franco. I call myself the pleasure fairy. And my biggest thing is making sure that people live fully lit up, connected to themselves. They understand and know what it's like to be in alignment, self-love, that kind of thing. Tied into living lit up. I have my own podcast. It's called Enlivening Musings. I've taken a little break, but it's starting back again. Maybe September here, but could be October, but I think it's going to be September. So I'm really excited about that. And I just muse about, it's that whole concept of like where it's all make believe and it's all play. So yeah, I'm here to play.
All right, cool. I'm excited because I feel like we're gonna have some musing opportunities in here, both musing and amusing opportunities. I'm excited for this year. So Crystal, you called yourself the pleasure fairy, and I think it'd be unfair to start off this conversation anywhere other than starting with that. So tell us a little bit more about that. Like, let's just dive in there. We're gonna go more into you and your journey afterwards, but like, this is intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so rewind to even just being in my early 20s, and I had a teacher, and she was just like, "You are just such a fairy." And so she nicknamed me Tink. And so I, just have always had that kind of playing and dabbling in the fairy realm-esque vibe. So when I started doing different work in the birth work world, I was known as a placenta fairy, and then I was the postpartum fairy. And then as I dove more into offering psychosexual embodiment stuff, I'm like, what's my main focus? And I'm like, it's pleasure. Of course, it's going to be a P word, and then I have to be the fairy of it. So I literally imagine it like I'm sprinkling fairy dust on people's lives to just make it happen, make the magic light up.
It's so funny that you say this right now, and the reason that I'm cracking up inside, like, hold on, let me ground myself real quick here. But my coach, he would often say, people don't care how they get results. They just want the results. They don't care if you like sit down and coach them the most powerfully you can in the world, or if you just sprinkled fairy dust on them, you know?
Nice.
And so like as you're saying this, I'm like, she gets it. She knows how to actually get people what they're there to get. So when people work with you, what would you say is like the big result that they tend to get with you?
It's like overall everything's so much better. And I
Mm,
know that sounds so vague, but it's like what did they come to me for? If they're coming to me for a relationship thing, they're like, wow, this is so much better. If they're coming to me for nurturance and support through a life transition, they're like, oh my gosh, this was so fluid and easy because I had your support. So it's kind of like whatever they're coming with, and then it goes beyond that. You know, this is outside of what I'm doing right now, but I'm just thinking of it with this conversation. I had a person who hired me for like postpartum work. And then after that, it just like exponentially, her whole life just kept changing. And she just like the gratitude she continues to still send me is so overwhelming in a good way because it's like just being nurtured during that time set her up so that she could then follow all of these other things with her healing journey for herself that tied into being a better parent and being more connected with her husband. So it's just like the ripple effect and how much it goes beyond. So it just depends what a person's coming to me with and for.
This is interesting to me because we're going to explore you, right? We're going to explore your business and we're going to explore your impact, right? So it's income, identity, and impact. Like those are the three things that I like to explore with people. And so something that's interesting to me is like you took on. Like I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, okay, she's able to be the pleasure fairy because like, and you said like I don't do this anymore, so I was like, oh, it's because that was the postpartum things, and that was when she was that was another P, that was another fairy right there, you know.
Mhm.
But a lot of this came because you decided to adopt on an identity back when you were like 19, you said, from like of being a fairy overall. Like, tell me about that because I think like the adoption of identities and how we choose to be or see ourselves plays such a huge role. So tell me about like the impact of that and what it meant for you to like take on the fairiness.
Yeah, I love that because I like to play with different archetypes. And so like when I think about that as like identities, it's very similar where, it's like what archetype am I going to play with today or this month or this week or year or whatever it is, phase of my life. But taking on like the vibe of the fairy, it always reminds me to play. It reminds me to like be light without being flighty, like disconnected. So, I mean, if we brought like astrology or things like that into the mix, I have a lot of air in my chart. I can be very mental and up here and vata deranged if we get into Ayurveda, right? All this air ether. And so but I'm not like I'm very grounded and I ground myself. So it's the capacity to do both. And so it's like being able to be up and flit around and like share that and let everything just go in that very airy, sometimes it could feel watery way while staying anchored. So I just feel like it brought in so much of that, like reminding me to play, let things be more light, less serious. Like there's serious things in the world, but like we don't want to be just all weighted down by that. We need to remember to play and be light. Um, Without it being all like it's just the lightness. It's
Yeah.
all you need it all. It's that wholeness. Um, so I don't know. Does
No,
that
there's something that comes to mind when you say this, right? Because I often tell people like I control gravity. I do, and I'm able to make heavy things. I'm able to do heavy things in a light way, right?
cool?
And then vice versa, right? Some things that most people think are light, they're like, oh, whatever. It's like it's a throwaway thing. I was like, that right there is what makes you shine. That's what like that's your gravitas. That's heavy there. And so I kind of get the sense that you get that, right? Where and what I appreciate about you, and this is part of why I want to like make sure we don't like we get both the identity and the business and the income because sorry, the impact because I've met a lot of people, and I know kind of like what I'll call like the light chasers, right? And pleasure is one of those things that can sit in a place where it's like, oh, it's all light, all good. I used to even have a movement called the World Joy Movement, right? And people are just like, it's all about the joy, and they're like, but why aren't you smiling? You're the joy guy. I'm like, wait, hold on, you're not getting how foolish. Like I can take joy in my anger.
Yeah,
That's the game. And so let's bring it into the pleasure world here. Where are like where are levels like that go beyond the surface that through your mastery of pleasure that most other people wouldn't even know is possible?
for sure. Okay. So, I mean, I think about playing with the depths of our darkness. Again, back to that, like trying to be all light. I am thinking of, I was hosting ecstatic dance and I had this kind of dark music for this particular thing. And this one attendee was like, I don't know if I can get down with like how dark this is because things should be light. I'm like, no, like in the depths of that darkness, in our wounds and our pain, and like what we think is so bad and wrong and yucky and all of that stuff. there's like pure magic there, that's like taking shadows and turning them into gifts. And it's also, but it's not about changing it. It's just about like allowing it. Again, it's like allowing it all to exist. And so there's so much pleasure in that. And then on the flip side, the little pleasures, people just ignore their senses and their sensuality, that they don't even experience like how good it is to breathe unless you're actually going to sit here and pause and breathe and feel how that changes everything. It could even like give you little tingles. You're just feeling the air coming in. You could feel warm. Like, it's the most simple thing, and we just do it unconsciously. And yet it's full of so much pleasure and so much joy. And we reach these like capacities and we numb ourselves out. And so then we don't feel that anymore and we don't experience that anymore. And so it takes like consciously choosing to pay attention to it. But that's how it then expands. If you want to take that to the farthest depths, to like actual intimacy ecstasy, it's like, how much are you having these experiences and you're numbed out and you're only feeling like maybe just some friction, right? But if you slow everything down and you pay attention, there's like exponential, like it's infinity, like pleasure expands upon itself infinitely. And it's one of those things where once you start playing with that, you notice that. And then you have deeper embodiments of it and deeper embodiments. Like, I remember this one time, I just couldn't even believe it. And it's a little graphic and detailed, so I'm not going to share the exact details, but it was like, whoa, I thought I experienced ecstasy. I thought I experienced this pleasure, and now this was a whole new level. And it's like, what?
Well, this is like, so there's something that I want to make sure I presence here. So thank you for bringing it in, right? And what I want to presence is like there were like two or three words that you said that brought me like I felt like my chest got like whoop, like I felt like a flutter, right? And for me, I'm like, oh, my nervous system is going on, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, can I be with this right now? And so there's times in here like I'm actually saying it so that I can presence myself in here. But I, as much as we talk about like the the like being with like the dark music and in the darkness there, you also help me realize like there's also a real big edge to being in pleasure and a positive and a light to allow yourself to go like fully. You're like you mentioned ecstasy, and I was like, for some reason, like something happened inside of me, and I was like, oh, that's curious. For someone who can like be with so much joy, like ecstasy, like feels like it's another level on top of that, right? And
Mhm.
I'm like, that's like it's not just about like the wounds and like and the dark side of things where there's discomfort, but to actually allow yourself to experience pleasure in such a way where you're like, I can't even tell you about how much like it was a lot of pleasure. I can't even get to it, like that to me, just because of my real-time experience, I'm like, oh, that is also incredibly vulnerable. I would love to get any thoughts from you on this one here, Crystal.
Just 100%. Like, people think that because it feels good, you wouldn't have like a cap to it. And people do. They stop themselves from letting things be good. They stop themselves from feeling good and being yummy and delicious and feeling like that. And one of the things, like you're talking about your nervous system, is our nervous system has to be able to handle it. So you have to be able to handle the yuck to handle the yum. So you have to like regulate yourself. You have to be able to handle all those stress emotions and all those things and get yourself regulated so that then your nervous system expands. And as it can expand in that way, it can now expand to handle that much pleasure running through it. And that's one of the things, like if you got into like ancient, like Tantra, Taoist type stuff, when they talk about like Kundalini awakenings and things, there were warnings of people like exploding because your body has to be able to handle it, in quotes, because your nervous system has to be able to handle it. And so there's so much nervous system regulation that, I mean, it's a hot topic these days, but for good reason.
You're saying like the nervous system regulation is a hot topic?
Yeah.
I think it's because our nervous system are like all day, every day, something's coming at it. I feel nowadays, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're in a period of change, you know. And so it's an interesting time to be talking about pleasure and like in what feels like a more uncertain period of time, a more like rocky period of time here. And so I enjoy this. I enjoy this because like the game, I feel like the game is nervous system regulation. Like the more you can take on, the more you can handle, the more you can handle, you know?
Yep.
And it's cool to have access to a different side of things, a different side of like uh of what you can actually take on. And yeah, I often think like I have two young kids will be singing in the car, like they're singing like their favorite songs. I just have like this thought, especially if I'm on a highway, of like, there's gonna be a truck somewhere coming. We're conditioned to be like it can be good, but it can't be that good, Otherwise, watch out.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so what I hear is like you help people break through whatever that limit, that ceiling is, to
Right.
experience things that like even you're like, I'm still finding new ceilings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild. And I want to just say, because when you're talking about even just how interesting the world is right now, I even did like different episodes, and it's a topic that comes up a lot is like, we still need the pleasure. Like, it doesn't serve the world when you're sitting there with all the awful atrocities and things that like really bring us down. um Anger is good to the degree that it gives us action, but when you can actually still connect to yourself and your pleasure, you're able to be like, again, grounded, connected, regulated, so you can actually do things to make change, whether that's just like in your community or it's like bigger scale, depending on what your personal fractal role is in the world. And so, because sometimes people will be like, how dare I be feeling good things when all this awful stuff is happening, or this, that, the other, right?
Yeah.
Or why do I deserve that and stuff? And so that inhibits people a lot too. So being able to remember that it actually serves the world. It's kind of like the whole filling your own cup so that you can be the best parent. You can't parent well when you're depleted, or the whole oxygen mask airplane thing, right? Everybody hears about that. It's like, you got to put your mask on first so you can actually help people. And it's similar with being able to experience pleasure. Like, we need to be able to be in our bodies and handle all the stuff, which includes the dark and the light. And then we can actually make change.
I'm glad you brought it to change making, Crystal, because I know there's a bunch of us trailblazers out here that are choosing to be who we are and building and leading because we want to affect change. And I think that there's something in here where uh, like as you talk, the more and more you talk, the more I'm like, oh, I get why this is needed. I'm like, I can think of different clients that I'm like, this could be an unlock in what we do, just to like open up the nervous system in a completely different way. And I think about also just uh like one of the things I was doing with Joy, and Joy's still with me. I tend to not go down that path right away. We'll see if it comes back though, because I do miss it. Like to your point, there's a lot more business and that comes in here, and I'm saying, okay, how can we help you take your identity and put it into a model that then allows like your income to go through it, which then fuels your impact, right? Very logical, all that. But man, Joy is good, you know.
Yeah.
And so I guess where I'm coming from with all this is this there are images that are coming through my mind where it's like to be able to do difficult things. At that point I knew I was like having joy was part of it. You go like, you see people. I remember like competing against someone and like they were getting angry and angrier, and I was just smiling more and more, not because of their anger, but because I was
Right.
like so like impressed with how I was showing up, and my joy was completely obliterated their anger. Like they couldn't get mad at, they couldn't reach me there, and it was making them more and more. And I think about this on the pleasure side of things too, where it's like, hey, because we are doing really, really like we're changing things, we're lifting the world, we're carrying the world on our shoulder, we're being there for others, we're leading others, we're doing whatever it is out there. Pleasure is essential. How like we need that. It's I look at it like sorry, I'm going off here, but you're just bringing this on to me.
Right.
It's like I tried like being with just anger for a while. And the way I described it almost felt like getting everything done by only eating Snickers bars. You know, it's like in theory they're calories, and it like if you're hungry, why wait? You'll eat it, right? Like
Yeah.
this moment brought to you by no, I'm joking. But I'm like, but if you have like a really good, healthy, like lean meal, like that's gonna energize you so much more. And that's where I kind of feel like the pleasure kind of gets to play in that space where it's like we're used to like using stress to get us through, but it's like there's a better energy out there. And guess what? It feels good too. Let me check in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just want to tail on that is like it's our life force energy. Our sexual energy, our creative energy is our kundalini. It's our life force energy. It's literally what makes us stay alive. And
Mm.
in like the more like the Taoist thing, I'll talk about just like one practice I learned when I
Go
was
ahead.
doing
Go ahead. Yeah,
Tai
yeah.
Chi and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we got to give you room to
Like,
be. You know, go ahead. Go ahead,
and
Crystal.
sometimes it
Carry your
takes me a
way.
minute to get to the point, but
Yeah.
you know, your energy can go from like your dantian, which is like around, I'll say your belly button. Okay. We don't need to get so specific. But when the energy creeps up the front of the body and then it goes out the mouth, that's your dying breath, right? So it's like this energy that comes all the way up and then out. And so you do practice to like keep bringing that energy down. And so it's like rooting there and like moving it through your system. And so that energy needs to move, and that keeps us healthy and vibrant and alive. And that's why I like the whole enlivening aspect of everything that I do, and that being lit up is part of like my premise, because it literally is our life force energy. And so, and it's activated through that pleasure, and it just can expand that way. And so, like, I mean, we're just talking good fuel, good source of energy.
I love this. I love this a lot. Outliers, I'm going to check in with you. I want you to check in with you, right? Right now, check in with your own self right now. How are you like holding this conversation right here? Are there things in it that make you uncomfortable? Are there elements where you're like, I'm in, I'm out? Like check in on that because there's nothing we need to do or change, but there may be some information in there that might give you a clue as to a place where you might grow, your nervous system might grow, or something that might be like your body or it might be asking for as you go out to create and lead and bring a vision of a world that we haven't seen come to life yet. So I just think it's just a good time to like just check in and be like, where like how are you in this conversation so far? And then see how you can leverage that to help you make like different decisions and grow. Crystal, anything that you want to say to this or anything you want to say to any outliers that's listening to this in terms of like how they can like, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Anything you want to say to them right now?
I don't have a lot to add to that because I just think that's beautiful. You know, we have all of it within us. So it's just about listening and tuning in. So I think
I love
that's
it.
great.
So, Crystal, now I want to bring in a bit of business now, all right? And the income side of things because there are some trailblazers who are listening to this that are like, okay, like I'm not about pleasure, but like I'm also really multifaceted, and I have this thing that most other people might like dismiss, and so on and so forth. So, like, tell me here, without me like insinuating this, but I'm like, let me set it up right. Pleasure might be something that people are like, I don't need pleasure right now. I just need to get the results. Fairy, on top of that, like it's like, I definitely don't need fairy, right? And then you bring the two of them together and it's like, okay, I get it, right? But you've been able to create a successful business from this. And I'm curious for you, like, how have you been able to transcend what people might assume in order to like continuously bring in new clients?
Honestly, I feel like my side of success comes from just like having other businesses and things like that tied into it. So,
Mm.
like, I've been a body worker and a teacher. And like I said, I used to do birth work and stuff like that. So, I've had like this baseline of other people um, who kind of like know I exist and already know, like, and trust me, you know? And that kind of has made that a little bit more accessible in like just being fully real. I'm still trying to find my like online voice in the sense of like not so much my podcast. My podcast gets like positive results. It's in the top 10%. It's great. Love it.
Love it.
But like the um like just being on like social media and stuff is interesting for me because I have my own like wave with that where I'm like super into it. I love posting. My creative energy is so flowy. It's very like quote unquote feminine or yin in
Oh,
that
okay.
way. And then it'll be like I don't want to do any of that. Um, so that side, I just rely on something that's really important in my sessions, which is like my limbic resonance
Mm.
and my frequency. So I do attract like the right people, which I think is important. Like I'd rather be attracting the right people than a whole bunch of people I have to like filter through or, have negative experiences with. So, I'm still growing and we'll see how that keeps changing. But I think also bringing in some of the like real 3D, like what are my tangible results, especially when you're talking like pleasure and fairy and people don't need that. But like they do need connection. They do want to be having better connection with their partners and better sex. And they do want to be like better parents and feeling more confident in that. They do want to be attracting more money and like stuff, all those things.
All the things, all the things. Thank you for this. Thanks for being like real about it because I think it's something that shows up in when I talk to different trailblazers and different things like that, where I'm like, it's a big focus of mine recently is what took me out of the joy world for a little bit, like at least like explicitly out of the joy world, because I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of people out there who have something really, really important to bring out to the world, but they haven't figured out how to like fund it over the long run to keep them in. And so eventually we all like it gets watered down or becomes like what does the market want and so on and so forth. What I think I'm hearing from you is one, as you take this on here, you have continued to transcend and include. So, meaning in this case here, as you go from one fairiness to the next, right? You're bringing along the people along with you for that journey, and they know about you. They've gotten experiences for you, so no part of your past has stopped paying dividends. Everything that you've done in the past continues to have a very long tail distribution to you. That's kind of like now in the future or in the present, and you've done it by delivering really quality work, really quality service for a long period of time. And as a result of this, you have both, and let me know if I'm putting any words in your mouth here, but like you have both word of mouth working for you as well as affiliate relationships. So word of mouth being like people who know you who be like, oh, you should go, you need some more pleasure in your life, go talk, or businesses that are like, hey, my clients come in. I'm going to send some of my clients to you as well because they could really use a session or they could use you for something else along the way. Let me pause there. Then we'll get back to the social side of things in a bit. But let me
Yeah.
pause there. Does that sound like an accurate representation of what's going on in your world?
Absolutely. And I just want to say, like with the affiliate side of it, it's one of those things where I've had it through doing certain like collaborations and things. And it's like again just being fully honest, like I want more of that,
Mhm.
like so it's something as you're talking I'm just like oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
that works for me. So it's something that I've been thinking about in the last like month actually too, is like okay, who are the people who I can like even connect with who do they either do similar stuff or completely different stuff, but have like the same audience, quote unquote, So yeah, but I like doing collaborations with people who do totally different things, but somehow there's like this mergence of like what we do. But yes,
So, Crystal, I've never said this on the podcast. We will talk after this. One of the things that I look at here with Outliers Edge is the word partnership. I don't collaborate with people as much
right.
nowadays, right? I think I might have been said that, right?
You did
But
earlier.
yeah, but I look to partner, right? And I think that there's a component here, and I'm saying this here for both you. I was going to tell you anyway, but also with for Outliers here, where it's like there's something distinct about you. And because there's something distinct about you, like there are ways where I see that like we're on similar missions, just through different paths, right? It's like we're all going to end up like I don't know in Los Angeles, but like someone's going to drive, some are going to walk, some are going to fly in, some are going to come, like so on and so forth, right? And we're going to want different things along the way. And so I want to put this out here, like because you have something distinct, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how like there can be times where some of my clients are going to need this or like there'll be a conversation I'd like to have with you around partnering here. And this is something I feel really important here where I'm like, all right, it'll be would be great to build this ecosystem of incredible outliers that are out there, who are each doing unique things. But like because of that, none of us have to do all the things. You know,
Right.
we don't do
Yeah.
all the things. Like there's gonna be like, but like our work is in alignment to it. Does
Hmm.
that make sense? Like we're all here to help people like live their best lives while they're on this planet. You know, how we do it, that's where the magic of being magical comes to life. So yeah, let's have that conversation. I want to make sure I state that, especially because if you were a watered down version of yourself, if you were like the, someone who a coach who believes in the power of pleasure, it would have been less interesting. But because you are the pleasure fairy, because you've chosen to go down mastery in it, because you've chosen to keep, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like this is your domain. If I was going to partner with anyone, I would love to partner with someone who like doesn't dabble, but like
Yeah.
this is what she does. So I hope you don't mind me saying this explicitly and having it on the podcast episode. But I think it's like it speaks to the power of like owning who you are, leaning into it and being and saying like I'm not every single slice out in the world, but I'm this slice. And for those people who are looking for it, like I can consistently deliver and I'm one of the best at this on the planet. Let me check in with you. What's coming through you here as I share that?
Yeah, awesome stuff because I merge like Gene Keys work with what I do. And so through the Gene Keys lens, we're all fractals. We're all little pieces of the puzzle. So you're literally like saying exactly that. It's like we each have our little part to play, and that's how we make this whole picture, right? It's like each of our little fractal pieces. And then also with that, I'd mentioned off the call is how like I'm a 16 for the gene keys, and it at its siddhic level, if you think of like yoga and the siddhis, is mastery. And so, but the gift of it is versatility, which is where I do have all of these things and I just like merge them all together, and then it becomes that mastery. So everything you're saying is just like yes.
I heard something that really filled me up, and we're going to start wrapping up the conversation from here.
Yeah.
But I think I heard something filled me up where they talked about something being a commodity versus something being rare, right?
Mhm.
And what they said about something being the distinction here was that something is rare because of the unique combinations of things, right? And that's it. You cannot find those combinations in other places, right? And so when you talk about like you have a lot of variety and then you put it together and it gets the mastery, like to me, that's the rarity of it. Sometimes we look at it and like it becomes scarce because where else are you going to find this specific combination
Right.
of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like who else on this planet is doing it in this way with these modalities, with this experience, so on and so forth, right? And Outliers, I'm also talking to you while we're in here right now. Like, what's the thing where you're like, oh, there's nothing special about me? I'm like, who else has had your experience of life, and in which ways can you show up and actually own it? I mean, I
Mhm.
made up this thing called Outlier. It's not a real thing, you know? And at the same time, like people come in, they're like, I get it. Like I'm called to this. Like to your point, Crystal, like you're like there are a lot of people who aren't, but for those who it's right for, like they get it and they're all in. And it's like there's an ownership involved in it. I want to make sure that yeah, I don't know, Crystal. I think that you have something that's like unique enough here that unique enough and fringe enough is what I want to say. But I'm like, but it's like you own it in such a way that we get a chance to own it with you and
Yeah.
be able to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we all want the same things out of life. We want a better life, live our highest self, reach all of our potential, like all those things that you talk about tracking, yeah, sure, you know, but there's something about your groundedness and the way that you hold it that's like, oh, I can do it that way, and
Yeah.
I want to bring that into space. I'm like, Outliers, we're going to go have sessions and spend time in Crystal's world. And I want you to think about it for yourself as to like, where are you not giving people an opportunity to say, I want to partner with you, whether it's by working with you from business to business, working with you as a client, or like so on and so forth. Like, where are you holding back and not letting people see your brilliance? Because if you do that, we have no opportunity to actually make something real come to life. Crystal, I'll let you speak to this, get the last word on this part here, and then we're going to wrap up this conversation. So,
Cool.
yeah. Anything that you want to like say to Trailblazers and anything that around what I just said or anything that's flowing through you right now?
Yeah, so I mean, it just really aligns with what I feel is it ties into that fractal piece, but we're all just individuals and we have our own individual way, which is like one of those things that I bring. Like when you're talking about like that combination, I mean, it's like, yes, I'm just sitting here in my own head. I'm like, yep, it's like art, it's the gene keys, it's the dance, it's the, and I'm like combining all of it, which is what like one of my biggest programs, which isn't that crazy, but it's a 3-month container. It's called Heartfire Alchemy. And it's like that. It's just like this, here it is all together. And you get to like experience this. And what you get out of that is more of you, So yeah, yes.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Outliers. This is it. Like we're multi-dimensional, multi-hyphenate, like multi, you know, multi-talented, like this is what this is where it comes in. This is it. It's in the unique combination of these things and in owning that as opposed to hiding or like explaining or whatever it is around it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, I go around calling myself what was it? It's something like um uh people say like master of none, jack of all trades. But I'm like, I'm the ace that you want because you can always pull me, you always
Yeah.
pull me and I win. I'm the Joker card, like game over once I show up because
Yeah.
like none of y'all can touch it, you know?
I
So
love it.
yeah, this is the role we play. All right, so we're gonna do this here. I'm gonna wrap up our conversation. Outliers, I'm talking to you here. My ask is that you go and share this with your world, and you do it with intention. So share it on your socials. Let your friends know. Hit them up in WhatsApp or text message, and let them know about like this awesome conversation. This podcast grows by word of mouth and by the actual impact that it has. But on the element of impact, like the real place that I care about is that you think of one person in your world right now who would really benefit from this conversation. Someone out there who might be holding themselves back from experiencing pleasure. Someone out there who might be thinking that like the thing that they do is too far out there and they can't figure out how to make a business work based on it or how to like leverage the relationships that they have to take it. Someone out there who just like might just like need to hear or really benefit from hearing this conversation in whatever facet. And you're just like, I don't know what's going to land with you, but this combo was for you. My ask is that you send it to them with intention. Let them know, hey, I was listening to this episode and I thought of you, and then send it over. There's something we call the one person, one conversation at a time initiative. And I just like in my heart of hearts, I believe that if we keep getting the right message to the right person at the right time over and over and over again, and maybe you might listen to this, you might be the person that has been on the receiving end. If that's the case, pay it forward. There's something in my mind. I'm like, this is all that it takes. This is all that we're going to need for this thing to just keep growing to exactly who it needs to get to each and every time. All right. So if you did that, it would mean the absolute world to me.
Mm.
Crystal, we end our conversation with two things. One of them is I'm going to ask you to let outliers know how they can go deeper down the journey with you. That's one. And then the second thing is that I don't have any conversation unless there's like the premise of it is transformation at all times. Right. So at this point, we're going to leave outliers to themselves. They've gotten what they've come here for. My question is, in which ways have this conversation been transformational for you? What insights or takeaways are you leaving from this conversation for yourself? And if you're like, nothing really showed up, you can tell me that too. That's fine too. All right. So deeper down the journey and any insights, if any.
Yeah, if people want to reach me, the easiest is to just go to crystalfranco.com because it has just basically all my links. Or on Instagram, it's thecrystalfranco.com. And my name is spelled just like the word Crystal. Franco's pretty easy, Franco. Um, and my takeaways from this, which I love that you end like that, is just really like lighting. I feel kind of like I got like pumped up, like where like in a good way of inspiration and just almost like a cheerleader a little bit, where it was reminding me like, yes, like you were totally speaking my language, and just the ownership of that and the fact that like I actually am like putting out there that I have everything like solid. And even though it's this unique thing, just everything you're saying and that like the whole time you were talking, it was just like this hum in my body. So I'm like, yes. So that was my biggest takeaway. So I definitely want to say thank you for just being you and shining that and reflecting that for me. And then just for what you're doing. and having
I
me.
appreciate it. So I'm glad you're here. Oh, that's fun. I usually have like my headphones on, so I'm
Oh,
like, oh, what are these like sounds that are taking place here? Look, I'm grateful for you. And yeah, like I think one of the things that happens is like people remember who they are when they're with me. And then it's the other thing you're gonna find out about me. I'm like, so now what do you want to do with it? Like that's the other part too with me. But yeah, Crystal, it's been a pleasure having this conversation. I'm really grateful for you. Thank you for doing the work that you do. Thank you for modeling what it looks like to be an outlier out in the world and to continue to keep growing with it. If you can't see it, like she, we just had a little flourish. That felt good. Outliers, here we go. Until the next time we talk, remember, be you on purpose. Journey on.